Hello everyone, this is Infinity, and in this video we are going to be talking about how it came to be that I was able to heal/cure myself. I've told this story many times to individuals in my lives. I don't even know, just a lot of times. And it's something that always comes up. And so here it is, 4:27 in the morning, on September 13th, 2019. It is Friday the 13th. It is the full moon today. Well, later on tonight, actually. And I woke up and laid in bed here for just a few minutes before I was guided to look and see what time it was, and it was 3:13 here on the 13th, and never fails. And so usually when I wake up in the middle of the night and at very specific times when I'm actually looking at the clock, and these are codes and activations, and sometimes it takes a few minutes for things to kick in after you wake up to start getting the downloads or information of what you need to be doing in your wake state and why you're waking up in the middle of the night. So that does happen, you guys, if you've experienced this. Anyhow, so it just hit me that this is what I need to be doing right now, is this video talking about what happened and how I went from being really sick with fibromyalgia to healing myself basically instantly. A lot of times people think when I say that I healed myself that it was this gradual process. And if you satellite out and look at it from a distance, yeah, sure, it was a long process. But the actual act of me making my body better happened in a really short amount of time. So here goes. This is what happened. It was it was about what? Okay, so where are we now? I should know this, right? It is 2019. Okay, so this happened, and I'm 20. No, sorry, I wish I was 20. I'm 20. I'm 40. I'm 46 right now. And this happened when I was 39. Oh, well. This happened when I was 39. So it's been right about 7 years now. And I remember this distinctly. I do know that it was May. I don't know exactly what day of the month it was. I'm sure I could go back and dig through something somewhere and figure that out. It's so weird that I don't know this. But quite frankly, it was probably somewhere in the portal. So between 5:05 and 5:15, most definitely that's what it was. I'm getting 5:10, so I'm thinking it was 5:10 right in the middle of the portal. Okay, yeah. Okay, my body's seriously really reacting to this stuff. Wow. Okay, so that's another thing that'll happen, you guys, if you're psychic, if you're clairvoyant, clairaudient, like if you're especially claircognizant, your body will have these certain things that it does when you're receiving information to tell you yes or no. And so there's different places on your body that'll do this, and it's different for everybody, and you just need to learn what your things are. So right as I'm asking that question, the information's coming, and I'm like, where is it? And I'm getting this pain in the back, like right on my rhomboid. It's right where the wings are. So if you're an angelic, especially, you'll have these problems right down the center of each, where your rhomboid is. You could look it up on Google, but where your rhomboid is goes from right where your shoulder blade is, goes down, and it goes all the way up into your neck. And so for people who have this problem, this is really about energy in that winged area, because even as humans, we have these energetic wings that come out of our bodies. But if we're angelics in body, it's even more intense. And before we awaken, before we know about our energetic bodies, before we're working with our energetic wings on a spiritual, energetic, or human level, physical level, they will, a lot of times for a lot of us, they will be a point of problems, like a lot of problems in your life. So a lot of people have this rhomboid issue on one or both sides. Sorry to veer off there, but it's something that was a really, really big deal in my life before I knew what was going on both sides really intensely. That pain that I just got, it would fester and be really bad, and it could inflame your entire rhomboid area, and it just makes life miserable. I had it a couple times where I couldn't even turn my neck even the slightest bit because it had inflamed all the way up into my neck, all the way down. This was on the left side. It's always been worse on my left side. And that is the receiving side of your energy body. So that makes sense. And, I even had to go to physical therapy. It was just really intense. My body, my whole life has been really intense. So that's when I was still in the throes of really bad with fibromyalgia. That was more like when the rhomboid thing started happening. And I didn't know what it was, just like everything else with my body. That was a good 10 years before the day that I'm going to talk about right now, when I healed myself. Okay, so leading up to this day, I had just started getting into yoga, and I had done yoga before. I had done hot yoga before, and I loved it, and there was just different circumstances, whatever. I didn't do it for a long time, and then I did again, and I was doing it from home with my Roku on, it wasn't called the Gaia Network back then. I can't remember what it was called, but that's what it was. I was doing yoga on there for at least, a couple of months, I think, on a pretty regular basis, if not daily. I think I got into a daily practice. I was doing Sean Korn's. She's a world famous yoga instructor. She's amazing. If you don't know who she is, whether you do yoga or not, if you haven't done yoga or done anything like that, look into Sean Korn. It's SeanCorne, I believe. And, but maybe not. I don't know if she puts E at the end of the corn or not. But she's amazing. And she has this one, practice. It's called the twist and flow. And there's two. It's like the beginner and the intermediate. And, I started doing that beginner twist and flow yoga for a couple months. And if you're going to do any yoga, I highly recommend twist and flow like she had, or any, like the twists that you do in that practice. It's about a 35 minute practice. Really helps squeeze out negative energy from your body and, really detoxifies you. So that's what I did. I did that for a couple months. I lost at least 10 pounds doing that. I remember that began the process of me having to get a whole new wardrobe. And Sorry if you hear me struggle here. All of a sudden my cat is being really aggressively affectionate, climbing on me and kind of scratching me. So, yes, you're here. I am petting you, kitty. Okay, so this had happened. I had been working on myself gradually. I've been doing this yoga. I'd been detoxifying. I'd gotten kind of in that lane of feeling better. And for somebody with fibromyalgia, that is not easy. It is, my whole life, I did not feel good in one way or another from a very, very, very young age. And this is because I was a physical empath, and I didn't know it. And my body was ravaged with the energies of the world, of the cosmos, and of every single human I was ever around, of dark energies coming at me, and naturally transmuting energies throughout my life and naturally healing those around me without even trying, without even knowing I was doing it, just because that's my vibration. That's what I am in this body. I'm meant to be somebody who transmutes energies naturally without even having to think about it. That's just what we're here to do. And we don't come with an instruction book on day one as a newborn. Our parents have no idea who or what we are. We don't know who or what we are. And we just, we're just set off on this mission, completely blind, deaf, and dumb to everything. The biggest everything about ourselves, every big important nugget of information that is crucial in our existence, we are not aware of. For some of us, that is for multiple decades. I mean, for me, it was basically, 4 decades worth of this. For the younger generations now, they definitely have it easier. There's so much more out there. It's just a different world. It's a different world now. So people don't have to live these multiple decades not understanding things or knowing who or what they are. So that's nice. For some of us, it wasn't, and still is not so easy. There's so many people in my same age range and above that didn't have the information that the younger generations have. And yes, I am officially that old, I guess. I am saying that. Okay, so one day, it was the Hay House Summit. So if you guys know who Louise Hay is, she is the woman who was channeled and got the information about the law of attraction, better known as The Secret. She's the one who made, everything The Secret was after. She's the one who started Hay House and have all these people underneath of her, all these, including Wayne Dyer and Doreen Virtue before she flipped, and a whole slew of other people are all under that umbrella of Hay House. So every year, starting from at least, I think it's been 10 or more years, so 10, 15 years, I'm not even sure. They do this thing in May called the Hay House Summit. And I'm hoping one day I will be a part of that. But anyway, it is basically an online summit every single day of different interviews and talks and teachings and access to guided meditations and all this stuff. There's different ways you can be a part of it and pay for it and all sorts of stuff. So I encourage you to go to Hay House and sign up for the Hay House Summit. So when that comes around, you'll get information on that. It's definitely something to look into. Not everything is for everyone, but there's a lot there for everybody, definitely. Okay, so It's during the Hay House Summit, and there is a guided meditation that day that I had been looking forward to, and it was about balancing your chakras. And so it was like, I kept just getting this, like I saw it on the calendar, and I was like, oh, I can't wait till that day. I'm going to do that. I'm really looking forward to that guided meditation. It was just this thing. And so there I was, sitting on my floor, listening to this guided meditation, and it's so weird. I don't know who it was. And what's really interesting is I didn't do that meditation because it barely started, and her voice started, and she started talking, and I got into it really quickly. I don't even remember how it started, but I got into it really quickly, and next thing I know, her voice is just really far away, and it's doing that Peanuts thing, the Peanuts cartoon, that wah, 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 like you can't make out the words, you can just barely hear the noise, it's far away, and that's what it sounded like, and I was like, that is really weird, what is that? And before I can really start to wonder what's happening, because I'm definitely not just, I know that I'm in somewhere, in my meditation. It was really weird. But then I started seeing this bright blue purpley light. It was off to the left and up and then everywhere. And I just had this feeling and sensation of going. And it was like this encouragement to follow that light. And I felt peace and love and safe. And it wasn't at all scary. That never even occurred to me. Oh, look at that. It's 4:44 as I tell this story. 17 minutes into this. Okay, very cool. So I see this, and it was like, come with us, follow the light, that kind of thing. And I was like, oh, this is cool. Okay. So I did, and I felt my consciousness just travel, through this funnel, wormhole kind of thing. It felt good. It felt like pressure, and it was really bright, and it was that light. And then instantly I was in this space that had no beginning and no end, no bottom or no top. It was just light everywhere, but it was weird because it was like this space that had a floor, but the floor was just light, and the ceiling was just light, and it went on forever, if that makes sense. And if you looked off into the distance, the 2 points would meet into infinity, because it just kept going and going and going and going and going. It was just massive. I remember looking around and just going, where am I, that there's no top or bottom, middle, beginning, end? I'm just here, but I'm not falling. I'm not rising. I'm sitting, it feels like. It was really, really trippy and really cool. And then my consciousness was really, I could just see in this space, but there really wasn't much to see except for this beautiful, glowing, rainbowy, yellow, purple, coppery, violet, golden light that if you looked at it enough, it would shimmer and move and glow, and kind of with a like just in this wave kind of thing. It would just go round in this pattern really, really slowly. not fast. It wasn't pulsating super fast. It was just going around slowly, like this nice slow ripple of energy. I'm remembering very vividly. And as I was, I'm going to say sitting there, because I felt like in that same space, like I was sitting in my home, like I was low, if that makes sense. And then all of a sudden these beings were in front of me, and they were massive, very, very, very large. Compared to the space around, it seemed like the space just got bigger when they popped in or showed up or whatever, because all of a sudden they were just like, whoop, they were there. But these beings had no body. They were not in bodies. They were just these big things of light. They were very long, and they're like oblong is the only way I would describe it. So they weren't circular, like balls or orbs of light. They were these big, long, oblong, like pillars of light, if anything, if that's coming to me. And from that perspective of feeling like I'm sitting, they would be like 14, 15 feet large. That's how like big they felt to me in that space. And each of them felt like if they were going to take up actual space, like here in my room, that they would be at least 4 to 5 feet wide. Yeah, so about 4 to 5 feet wide and about 12 to 15 feet tall is what they felt like when they first came in. And they were in a semicircle in front of me. And they each had kind of a shimmer of a different color. Other than that, they had no distinction whatsoever. They were just really big, and they were bright, and they were beautiful to look at, but they had nothing that would resemble a face or a body whatsoever. Not even a little bit. Like nothing like that. They were just... But there you could tell they were things on their own, but they didn't have bodies. And all of a sudden, they started to speak with me. Of course, not with mouths, but telepathically. And they were saying, they said, okay, so we basically brought you here to remind you of what you already know about yourself and about your body. And you're not really sick. There's nothing wrong with your energy or your physical body. It's what's going on outside of you your entire life, and how you've been absorbing energy and taking in energy and recycling energy, and you're just backed up with this negative energy. You don't have anything actually wrong with you. You're just, for lack of a better way to put it, dirty inside. You're gunky in your energy system and your physical system, and it's causing all of these problems. And you need to remember that you've had lifetimes where you've known this stuff. You've worked with the energy to help people, to heal people. You've been these different things. And so this is something that you already know. You've been doing this over and over and over again when you've incarnated. And some other stuff too. I don't really remember all of every single detail of what was said, because I remember there was more than I could even pick up on at the time, because it was coming so, when you get telepathic information like that, it's so multi-layered that it's like switching channels, and then every once in a while you see a picture and you're like, oh, I know what that is. You know what I mean? Like, you can get the understanding of like, oh, dog. I see a dog. Other than that, just things are flying by so fast you can't even pick. You're like, tree, dog, car. But you don't know what to put together. You couldn't say like, oh, that show was about this, and this is what they were talking about. You have no idea. It's just flashes of information coming at you. And the way that happens is so you will know, things will come together at a later time. So so there I was getting all this information, and as this was happening, I remember thinking, everything that was coming and landing and sticking on me, as far as the information goes, was like, yeah. There wasn't anything that was told to me that didn't resonate as true and for me to trust it. There wasn't a thing there. It was all on point. I just knew it. And I was just like, wow. I just remember thinking like, yeah. Like, it was just so bizarre. And then it literally felt like I was there for a moment. It felt like I was there for a minute. And then it was like I started to hear the lady's voice again that completely had gone away. The lady's voice in the guided meditation was totally gone. After just a little bit, after it went wah, 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 it was totally gone. And then it started to kind of come back a little bit. And I was like, what is that? And they're like, oh, it's time to go back now. And I was like, but I don't want to. It was just so beautiful and peaceful there. And I was like, oh, but already? And they're like, yeah, you've really got to go back now. And I was like, all right, so I just remember this resistance to going back, and then whoosh, all of a sudden her voice started coming back, and she's like, okay, well, and she was taking you out of the meditation at that point. And it was like I think a 35 or 40 something minute meditation. I remember it wasn't I didn't want to do anything super long, because at that point it was still really hard for me to sit in that position without getting uncomfortable. And so, but it felt like it was 2 minutes, if that. So that was confusing, because I was like, what? This is ending? What is going on? It was so weird. But that's how it works. When you go into these higher level, when you're astrally projecting into high levels, into higher dimensions, time is just ceases to exist in the way that you know it. So time moves way faster here than it does in those places. That goes for when I'm doing my astral meditations, like we're going to do later on today, or in a healing, because that's again in the quantum field, as we're going into higher dimensions and working in those fields. We're in a space and time that is totally different than what's happening here in the physical, and you can definitely tell. It's really trippy how that works, but it does. And so it was kind of what happened, but in reverse. I started hearing her voice, wah, 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 wah. I started making out actual words that she was saying. The light started to go from this beautiful, it was like being in a sliver of an abalone shell or a crystal, or, it was just this beautiful rainbow opalescent, electric, soothing, amazing place and light that just, I swear to you, like brings me to tears to think about it. It's just so beautiful. And I didn't want to leave. I didn't, but I had to. So, because, I was alive in a body, so I didn't really have a choice in the matter. And so I just remember kind of being in reverse back out of this funnel, and then just kind of feeling back in my body, which was kind of jarring, to be honest with you. And then I just sat there, and she's like, okay, when you're ready, open your eyes and you're done with your meditation. And I was like, that was the craziest meditation. Like, I was like, what just happened? I sat there with my eyes closed for another minute or two, just trying to hold on to what just happened, because none of it was like anything I'd ever experienced. And at this point, I experienced some really amazing metaphysical and spiritual things in my life, but nothing even remotely close to that. And I opened my eyes and I looked around, and I just wondered what was real. did that really happen? What just happened? What just happened right now? And it was like, yeah, that just happened. Okay, what was that? I don't know. Oh yeah, what they told me about myself and my body and how to take care of it, what to do to make it better. And then it was this push, literally, and this like screaming in my face, do it now. Like, strike while the iron's hot. Like the same type of, like, when all my life I said, like, yeah, I feel like I've been impressed upon in different ways. I never used the word guided. I didn't know to use the word guided. Now I do. But my whole life I would say I was impressed upon. And that's how I would feel. I would just be like, oh, like, I can't ignore this. I'm getting information. I'm hearing things. I'm feeling things, like, just like that, like outside of yourself, ideas, information, understandings, whatever. So in that moment, I just got very intensely impressed upon. And what I was told was, don't let this don't let the fizz start to dissipate of everything that you just experienced and what you just learned about yourself and what you know. You need to get up and take care of it now. Like, do it. And I was like, okay. So right then I got up and I started to think about everything, and I can really feel the energy in my body. Like, my body was just buzzing, and I should say this. My body was definitely tingling and buzzing, and I was used to that. That was one of the actual symptoms of fibromyalgia, was that you're always like, you're just like always have this like energetic charge going, but it's not comfortable. It's called the pins and needles, the tingles. So that's the kind of shit that would keep you, like, as a fibro patient, keeps you up and hard to sleep, because your body is just doing this thing that you can't control, and it won't stop, and it makes it difficult to sleep. And that had been going on for many, many years. Now I know what it is, and I deal with that all the time now. It's not a symptom of fibro, this bad thing. It's your energetic body just being very, very, very vibrational, and you feeling it in your body and not understanding that that's a bad thing, because it just kind of comes on at some point in your life. And you're like, what is this horrible thing? And it can be like, oh, is this, MS or Parkinson's or lupus even, and different things, and that can, that will miss those diagnoses because it's not that. Luckily, it doesn't mutate into something that is so disruptive to the energetic body, like those neurological illnesses. Okay, so I sat there and I went, okay, yeah, get up and do this thing. And I just remember further being guided to really feel into my energy and my energetic body, and to work with that like I had in the past, like past lives and stuff. And I don't really know how to describe it other than me reaching in and pulling out and clearing out my own energy as I sat there, like almost like a dry wash through the different fields of my body, the physical body, the energetic body, my etheric and my auric bodies, just all kind of allowing me to go in and pull all of this energy out. And it took me about 2 minutes, and that might be adding some time. It did not take me very long at all to do this. I think I was also primed from being in that space energetically, those higher dimensions that I went in, that quantum field. And I think that's also why they're like, come on, get on this, let's not let this, don't dilly daddle. You're like perfect. Your energy is perfect for getting in there. And I get that now that I do healings and I work in that field and with those divine beings who are archangels, by the way. They didn't tell me what I was or who they were at the time. It wasn't important. I didn't find that out until many years later, as a matter of fact. And when I did, they they immediately took me back to that moment and that time to show me, how it all began. And at least in this journey for me to start to really awaken and understand, they're like, yeah, that's who we were back then. We were, it's just, but at the time it wasn't like, hi, we're your brothers and sisters, the archangels, and you're an archangel, and this, it didn't go that far, because I think my brain would have exploded if they were giving me that information at that time. I was not ready for that. And it didn't come until many years and a lot more life experience and understanding of things later, like at least 4 years later is when that started. So it was a good amount of time of me being totally cured from fibromyalgia, because after those couple of minutes, I never felt my body like that in my entire life. I had no idea that my body could feel like that. It, for the first time, didn't feel like it weighed 500 pounds. I could tell people in the throes of fibro that I had for diagnosed anyway for 15 years at this point, that it would feel like my arm was like 100 pounds, that a finger weighed, 50 pounds or something. Sometimes just, pressing a button on a remote was excruciatingly difficult. And I know that may sound impossible, that anybody could be that messed up, but it's true. And I'm not that rare when it comes to feeling these things in your body. These are universal feelings for people with fibro. And again, I will say it, I've said it before, people that have fibro, or like really anything like those types of issues, it's all, well, any issue is energy, but those types of issues specifically wear the body down because of just too much energy going on and not enough flow and balance and all of that stuff that needs to happen to feel good in your body, to be a healthy body. When you don't know how to regulate, calibrate, and be in alignment with your energy and put all your bodies together in that way, you're just not working with a full deck, basically. You're working with a machine that you have no idea what's going on, and it causes a shit ton of problems. And so my body felt fantastic. I never felt so good in my life. I knew instantly that I was better, that nothing was actually wrong with me, that exactly what they told me was true, that there was really nothing wrong with my body. And I had felt that throughout my life, in different little slivers of time, that things weren't like that. There is the real me in there that's energetic and motivated and happy and isn't in pain, and you know what I mean? Like I'd known that about me, and it would come out here and there when the energy was, I guess, okay enough in my body to allow me to do that. And I had always been like, I just want the real me to be around 100% of the time, not here and there, and the rest of the time to be miserable in this existence. Like, what is the point? And that's just, it's like, what's the point of this? Just to survive, just to make it to another day in my miserable prison of a body. And that's what I called my body. I called it a prison, literally. That's how it felt. It felt like every day I woke up in prison. And the only thing that was ever going to make that better was to die. And I wanted to die early, like soon. I talk about this also in my Who Am I video, because it was a real thing. I mean, I was that unhappy, that depressed, that suicidal in my life, and that much in pain for so many years. I mean, when you're approaching the 40th year of your life and nothing is the way you would want it to be, you just start hoping to die sometime soon. So I had my sights set on 55. It was still 15 more years, and it still sounded like absolute hell. But it was a goal, and it was the only thing I could think of other than suicide, and I did fantasize about that a lot. I had a lot of pills at my disposal. It would be really easy, or cutting myself or whatever. And I think that, honestly, this is why I had been there and dipped into that type of thing so many times. And I think that it was just really a divine intervention that got me to start doing yoga and clearing out my body so I can get to that point, so I could do meditation, so I could be taken to that place and be told what I was told. And you know what I mean? Like, all of that, I had to get there little bits by bits. It's not like one day I just woke up and they're like, here's this information. Like, I had to do the work on my own to get there before I was able to unwrap that package of information. And that's the case for us all. That is the case for us all. We all have those steps to get to before we're actually ready to receive the transformative information and to put it in play. So that's what I did. I put it in play. I activated the information that I was given, and within just a few moments, probably closer to 90 seconds, I was totally better. I didn't have any pain in my body. I felt energized and energetic. I wasn't fatigued. I wasn't just in pain everywhere, feeling everything. And I never took another pill. I had 10 different medications that I was on, from muscle relaxants to joint pain medicine. I really didn't do the holistic thing. I was all about what my doctors were giving me, and I know so much more. I'm not going to get into that right now, but I was on 10 different medications. I had 5 different specialists, and basically in an instant, I didn't need any of that anymore, because I had cleaned out and calibrated my energy system. And from that point forward, that's what I continued to do and to figure out. And it was, after that, it was several years of just figuring out life, not hurting anymore. But there wasn't like this great leap in spiritual understanding that came actually several years later. So anyway, that is what happened and how I was able to heal and cure myself instantly. I was divinely guided. I was taken to a higher dimension. I met with my brothers and sisters, the archangels, who reminded me of a little bit of what I knew and a little bit of what I was able to do, enough to get me through the breaking point of my body being so messed up. It was so messed up. I'm not going to get, I kind of like pushed all that. It was like gone, you know what I mean? Like the details of it. But I had to wear like even compression socks because I had, all these problems in my legs, and, it was a very serious situation with me. It wasn't minor with my fibro. It was like, my doctor told me when she diagnosed me when I was 25 that I was one of the most severe cases that she had. When I came into her practice, she thought she had seen pretty severe, and then I showed up and she was like, wow, you're on a whole other level with this that I've never even seen before. And this was back when just the diagnosis of fibro was still looked at like, oh, that's not even a thing, because they didn't know what to call this thing, that this problem that people have that changes all the time, that there's no test for, that that is just waxes and wanes, but they have these very specific trigger and tender points, and those are energetic meridians. And that's, these are, as people who are, most people with fibro are empaths and are energetically sensitive. At the very least, they are empathic. They do have neurotransmitters that are way larger than the normal average human. And this allows for us to feel into the energies of the ethers, to feel into and extrapolate information from the bodies around us. And it's helpful because as we help others, as we know about others and how they feel, we can more easily help them get better. So it's like going to your doctor and them going, don't say a word. I know exactly how you feel and what's wrong with you, and I know how to fix it. This is really the idea behind an empath and why we were designed the way we were designed. The problem is that we weren't told that, and so these big fat neurotransmitters that are meant to help us and everybody else acts like our kryptonite and makes life so difficult and painful because we don't know that it's just absorbing and filling us up, and it's just really, really bad, and causes so much pain and disruption in the body. And we just throw medication at it a lot of the times to try to manage the symptoms and what this energetic dissonance causes us to feel. For different people, it's different things. So there you have it, you guys. That's basically it. And from that time forward, it was just living life that way without going to the doctor. I don't know what my doctor, I never ever, still to this day, contacted her. I just kind of never looked back. I know that is again going to come full circle with her. She's a beautiful person, and I do want to tell her all about me and all this stuff and how I'm helping other people. It just hasn't come around yet. And, but I know a lot of things haven't come around yet, but they will. So anyway, thanks for listening to this video. I do appreciate it. I hope that you can, get some of that understanding of what that experience was like for me, and understand that being able to work with the energy and the energy of the body when you know how to do it is really instant. It's an instant thing that we can get into, and it doesn't take more than the understanding of how these things work, at least on a basic level. We are energy. Energy is everything and everywhere. We can get into the energy of things and transmute and work with that. It's called alchemy, working in that quantum state. And so, that's what I've learned to do for other people across the world, for animals and everything in between. And so now I've gone from, so this is the story, how I went from being this ultra sick person, suicidal, useless for pretty much everything, to this superhuman who can heal other people. And I never would have thought that was even the slightest possibility for anybody in this world, let alone myself. But that just goes to show you that you don't know what you don't know. And it's really a lesson in being open to what you don't know, because you may think you know things about the world and about yourself, but I guarantee you there are levels and layers and mass amounts of information about just you, your soul, everything that you've been connected, you have no idea about. You don't know what is possible in this world. You don't know what you don't know. I didn't know what I didn't know, and I still don't know what I don't know. But I do know more than I used to know, and I do know that we don't have to be ill and sick the way that we are. I am living proof of that, and that has nothing to do with what I am on a soul-based level. This is something that for every human, we are able to work with our bodies in this way. If you are a human, you can work with your energetic body in this way. You can learn to regulate and keep your energy in balance. And you can work with me and those like me, at least, at least like on a Reiki level, once you get calibrated to keep you there. Reiki is fantastic, but it's more for attunement of your energy and finding places that, have little blips going on and get you back into alignment. But it really isn't meant to cure you. It doesn't go deep into those spiritual planes of existence like we go to when I do my sessions. It is interesting though, because I did want to learn to do Reiki. I was like, wow, you can learn to work with the energy of people and that'll help them and make them feel better and all that stuff. I just thought I was just so transfixed by that. I still didn't understand that, like, well, that's, I was working with my energy in a certain way 2 years and years ago. Like I helped myself that one time and then that was it. I didn't put anything together that, oh, I can heal other people and I'm a healer. And that information, like it did not come, it did not stick. It was more about just take care of yourself. And this is how you do that as far as energy goes. But it wasn't like this is a thing and you could do it and help other people. I wasn't there yet. I wasn't ready for that yet. Now I know better. I know that there's levels to working with energy and what you can do. And so now I do take people, and we do astrally project. We do astral meditations. We work with our divine counterparts. I channel for the archangels, for Jesus, for Mother Earth Gaia, and for others who are part of the High Council who come in to give us messages to give to the collective. And that also goes on in our private sessions as well. With people when we're doing healings. And I just have to say before I close this out at nearly an hour that I wouldn't trade anything in my life. This journey, for all of its dark points, and there are a lot, for all of its dark points and whatever situations that were not so on the bright side of this life. With all of that and all of that said, I would not change a thing. I am utterly blessed and in love and grateful beyond anything that anybody could possibly imagine in this life, that I am who I am, that I have this experience, that I've gotten to this place that I can do what I do, that I can help other people, and I'm just going to be doing that more and more and more. And I'm really, really excited for that. And all of this is real. I hope that anybody listening to this, don't just listen to this. Go and look through my channel and watch the videos of post-healing, excuse me, my post-healing videos that I do with people after I've done their healing sessions, and what it's like for people after astrals. And that might be a little more difficult to find. You have to go through each of those videos and read the chats in there. But the bottom line is that this might sound fantastical and crazy, that somebody can go from being super sick and go into a meditation and be taken into some crazy other dimension and come back and instantly be cured by, doing what they're told to do. I know it sounds just like science fiction, but it is what happened. It's exactly what happened. After that day, I never felt like I did before, and it's been all these years, and like I said, now I've grown by leaps and bounds from that day, that's for sure. My body has changed. I don't even have the same body structure anymore since I activated my crystalline DNA and been working with infinite love light energy, doing healings, for the collective with Gaia, working just with people and doing what I do. Just all of that has really magnified and intensified my own activations. And now I stopped the aging process, and I am actually just in that state of not aging, and my body's rejuvenating itself and kind of working in the reverse aging process at this point. So that is a thing. When we have calibrated systems energetically and we're not holding on to negative energy, we don't have a reason to decay or to age other than what's in the atmosphere, what we put in our bodies, what we eat, what we consume on an energetic level, what we're bringing into our consciousness, what we're bringing into our, that whole thing. You can't unsee what you've seen. That's energy, and that's in your brain, that's in your body, that's in your spirit. So you got to be really careful with all that stuff. But all of this is real, is a thing, is true. And I hope that if you are somebody who lives in a state of pain with fibromyalgia like I had, or anything, it doesn't matter really what it is, we can help it with the treatment of your energetic body. And I invite you and I encourage you to, again, look around my YouTube channel and my website. Both are Infinite Love Light Energy, infinitelovelighthenergy.com, Infinite Love Light Energy on my YouTube channel. And I also, the same thing, Infinite Love Light Energy on Instagram. And if you are open, and if you choose to accept that, again, there are processes and inner workings of your own self and of this world and creation as a whole that you are not aware of, that hasn't been shown to you, that hasn't been proven to you, if you can accept that. And I think most logical people can accept that there's stuff out there in the world, in the universe, and even the inner workings of their own bodies that they are not in understanding of. Because if you think you know everything, like a lot of people do, well, that's not true, that doesn't exist, that can't happen, that's this, that's that, that's being extraordinarily closed-minded to the possibilities of creation as a whole. You as this little human life, you don't know everything. You just don't. You don't know what's possible. Our society as a whole is very, very much in the dark ages as far as the possibilities of what it is that our bodies actually are. And it is for us as the individual to open up to the understandings of the inner workings of ourselves and of these lives and of creation as a whole. It is our responsibility as a sovereign being in these lives, in these bodies, to take charge and to think for ourselves and to seek and to find the truth within, and what is real and what is false and what has been told to us and that isn't true. About ourselves, to keep us from ourselves, to keep us from rising to a level of understanding, so we can break free from the chains of oppression that keep us limited. We are unlimited and extraordinarily powerful, but we have limited ourselves with ideas in the matrix of this world that have been imposed upon us, and we just haven't known any better. And, but that is the whole purpose for myself and those like me, and those who came before me and those will come after me. And when I come back again, after I'm done in this life in about 100 years, there is so much more to learn and discover. We barely scratch the surface. And I hope that this information struck a chord and resonated with you on some level, that if not for yourself, that for somebody, that maybe you can really feel that there is hope for a better body, for a healthier body, for tomorrow not being like today. That is a possibility. All right, you guys, I'm going to close this out now. Thank you so much for being here and listening to this story. It's one that I never get tired of telling, but also one that I feel like I could be telling a lot more in the future. And it's just something that needs to be out there and to have people access anytime. So there you have it, you guys, the way and how I was able to heal myself. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Again, thank you for being here. Infinite love and blessings. Don't forget, the key is to create, which is also now a website. Please go check it out. thekeyistocreate.com. It's an artist portal and where you can go and check out my art. And I'm really excited about that. So please do check it out and subscribe, and drop me an email if you would like to be a part of our portal. So once again, infinite love and blessings. Don't forget, the key is to create, and I love you already. Till next time. See you on the flip side, guys. Bye.